Significant changes are on the way for Ontario's colleges and universities. The province is overhauling the way it supports post-secondary institutions, which are facing massive financial challenges. The biggest change, ending the tuition freeze, which has been in place for 7 years. The government also announcing an additional $6.4 billion in funding over 4 years. And it's also changing OSAP to offer fewer grants and more loans. CTV's Natalie Van Rooy is live now with those details. Natalie.
Patricia, the province is throwing a lifeline to Ontario's struggling post-secondary sector. But this also signals a challenging time ahead for students because not only will tuition be higher, the government is also cutting back on financial assistance grants for students. Ontario's colleges and universities face significant financial pressure after the federal government cut down on the number of international students admitted to the country. Starting this fall, schools will be able to increase tuition by up to 2% per year for the next 3 years. And after that, increases will be limited to either 2% or the average inflation rate, whichever is lower. Now, just one part of an overhaul of the cash flowing into a sector in a state of crisis.
This is the largest investment in post-secondary education in Ontario and Canadian history, bringing reliable, predictable funding to the sector for years to come. Starting in the 26-27 academic year, our new long-term funding model will provide $7 billion in operating funding to the sector every single year. That is a 30% increase over this year's funding.
There's also a dramatic cut to grants through the Ontario Student Assistance Program, OSAP. Starting this fall, students will receive a maximum of 25% of their OSAP funding as grants.
They set the fire and then they arrive, I won't say with a garden hose, but not what they need to put out the fire.
The government calculates higher tuition will cost the average college student an extra $66 a year. For university, it will cost an extra $170 more.
I think that's not fun. We already have pretty high tuitions.
We already have a lot of people struggling with the funds that they already have to pay.
I mean, if they're using like the reason that they're raising the money and they want to use that money to fund the secondary, that will be very helpful.
I think putting more money in the secondary will be good, but if prices go up for the tuition, it could also be bad.
They're already expensive as is now.
For me, I don't mind because personally I get OSAP.
Not ideal. Yeah, it's just kind of is what it is. I guess apply for more grants and do what you can.
The tuition changes go into effect beginning this September. Now, post-secondary institutions, especially colleges, relied heavily on international student tuition revenue after the government cut tuition fees by 10% and froze it at that level 7 years ago. Patricia.
CTV's Natalie Van Rooy live for us tonight. Thank you. And we have extended coverage of the Ontario government's changes to tuition and funding for post-secondary institutions. There are more stories online at ctvnewsottawa.ca.